Okay guys, so now that you've seen my iPhone 5 versus the Galaxy S3, as well as the iPhone 5 versus the iPhone 4S, and the Galaxy Nexus video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the phone itself. I haven't gone that much in depth about the actual phone, so I'm going to do a little review on it. It's running iOS 6. It has the A6 processor, 1 GB of RAM, has LTE and LTE 4G now. I honestly think the phone looks awesome. It's very, it's nice to hold. It's actually a lot nicer to hold compared to the previous phone. It might be because I just kind of feel safer holding it because it has an aluminum back now. So if I drop it, I'm not afraid that it's gonna break and I'm gonna have to spend another $100 getting it repaired. So let's take a look at some of the new additions that were added in iOS 6. One thing that Apple touted a lot is the new Maps feature. It's definitely cool. Like, it has, in some cities, it has flyover mode, which, pull up here. As you can see, it's really responsive. For some reason, doesn't want to pop up the 3D stuff. There we go. So here's the flyover mode. Definitely pretty cool. The 3D itself is actually really nice. Looks really photorealistic. There's a lot of the stores and stuff that are still there. There are still a lot of things that are missing from maps, such as bus transits and stuff like that they completely removed. Pretty much all it is a turn-by-turn thing now. Let's try some of the navigation stuff. Navigate to New York.
Getting directions to New York City.
So as you can see, it picks it up pretty quick. The only gripe I have is it doesn't
starting route to New York City.
It doesn't start it right away. I guess it kind of gives you the option to make sure it's the proper location first and do a quick edit if need be. It has a Siri voice navigation, so that's okay. But overall, Apple Maps does a pretty decent job. Everything is there. It's really similar to Google Maps. I honestly think their new, the look of it is pretty nice too. The colors are vibrant and vivid. It just has a kind of like a cartoony feel to it, but it's really nice. It, as you can see, it loads stuff up pretty quick. So overall, they're doing a good job. There are definitely some issues with it right now that a lot of people have been talking about, but Apple will fix those up pretty quick. Another thing I wanted to bring up was Siri has been improved as well, so I can look up things like sports scores and things like that. Let's take a look at it. One of those. Toronto Blue Jays score.
Toronto was soundly defeated by Tampa Bay yesterday. The final score was 12-1.
So it gives you cool stuff like this, as well as San Francisco Giants.
Here's the roster for the Giants.
So it's pretty quick, and it brings up the full roster and stats for pulled it out for the Giants. Pretty amazing stuff, actually. It's a lot quicker than before. before I found it kind of unbearable to use on the iPhone 4S, whereas on here it's actually something that's worth checking out. Another new feature they added in iOS 6 is Passbook. Let's take a look at that. So right off the bat, it forces you to go to the App Store. It doesn't have anything really built into it, so let's see what kind of offerings they have. So I live in Canada, and pretty much I don't have that many options here. Like, I have my movie theater thing, a couple of airlines, but there's no Canadian Airlines or anything. It's all American stuff. One German company and a makeup thing, it looks like. So it's still cool. It's just a new feature that came out, but I think once more developers and stuff start working with it, it'll be definitely awesome. The App Store has been redone. I'll just show you that. The UI kind of has a iPad-like UI. I think the thumbnails are slightly too big. They're really aesthetically pleasing, and it just makes everything super colorful and vivid. But in terms of efficiency to look up apps, if you're trying to explore, find new things, I think they could have made this a bit smaller. But they have this Genius for Apps thing now. I haven't tried it out yet, but it's probably just going to work just like the songs. Takes recommendations based off of what you've already used in the past. But the whole UI is actually really nice. It especially with the black version of the phone, as you can see, all the buttons here are black. Everything else is black, whereas previously it used to be gray, and I guess the gray matched with the original iPhone offering. But now the black and everything looks very nice. Look at the new dialer. It looks amazing as well. I actually think it's the best looking dialer that's available right now. But everything else, I sort of have an issue with it. Like these blue colors and everything, I think they should have changed that to kind of match this this kind of layout right here. It has kind of like a very sharp buttons, and everything else is really soft. I don't know if they meant to contrast that or what, but there's that. Other than that, iOS feels the same. When you download apps, it gives you a cool a tag. For example, on this podcast app, you can see that it tells me that it's a new app. So if I download like 30 apps at once and I don't know which one I recently downloaded, it'll tell me which one to go to. The performance of the phone itself, it's very nice. Let's just quickly go to a site. It's fast. The scroll bar moves up quick. Everything is just amazing. Let's open some stuff up. It's just a lot more responsive than before. Let's go to the full site here. As you can see, it loads quick. Pinch to zoom, responsive like always. Don't really see any of that weird grid stuff that used to happen in the past. It just I'm really impressed by the speed of the phone. I think Apple did a really good job upgrading everything with it. The design, I know I complained in my previous video that it still feels like an iPhone, but I think a lot of users are scared of change, and Apple is going to continue doing what they know works, and it just feels like an iconic design, just like the MacBook Pro unibody. They've been using that over and over and over and over. People still keep buying it. It's just an iconic design. They're going to keep going with it. I think honestly, next year when the iPhone 5S comes out, I don't think they're going to change anything. Maybe put a new camera in, but that's about it. Slightly, probably a new GPU again. But the iPhone 6, I honestly see it continuing this kind of shape. Maybe they'll make it a bit wider in 2 years, but browser's good. Everything's good. One thing that they added in the Panorama mode. I'm going to try showing you the UI. So it doesn't convert it to this way when you try to do it. So you kind of have to take panorama pictures like this. So it tells you what to do. And you see this arrow? It has the accelerometer with it. So it's not working right now, let me take a picture. As you can see, the arrow moves up and down when you're taking a picture, and it tells you what to do. Now, if I go too, it'll tell me if I'm going too fast. etc., and to slow down. The stitching, it does an amazing job stitching. I'm just going to show how long it takes for the iPhone 5 to actually stitch the panorama pictures. It decided to do it on its own that time. Let me try another one. See, so you saw the moment I twisted it back the opposite way, it finished taking the panorama. But I'm gonna show you one more time. You can see that the panorama picture is done basically instantly, which is really impressive. That's one awesome feature of the iPhone. One more thing I am gonna show you guys is the YouTube application on the new iOS. It's very similar to the ice cream sandwich and jelly bean YouTube application. It looks pretty much the exact same, but like sort of smaller because of the real estate on the phone. I don't really know what else to show you with the phone. Like, you guys have seen everything. I'm just going to talk about this phone in terms of the competition and whether it's worth buying or not. If you have an iPhone 4S, it's still an upgraded over the 4S, but it's not going to be leaps and bounds. It's probably not going to be even what you expect. You might be disappointed at first, but if you're coming from an iPhone 4 or anything lower, this phone is going to be amazing to you. This phone is on this pretty much same level as the Galaxy S3. Both those phones are like completely in their own league. So if you already have an S3, this phone is slightly faster, but not by much. So I recommend you just hold on to your Galaxy S3. If you're an Android fan, iOS 6 isn't going to offer you anything more. It's pretty much the same old, has turn by turn, a few other things. But Android still lets you do a lot more. But if you really want to stick with iOS, this is the best iteration of iOS yet. So I mean, if you're kind of looking for a budget phone, I recommend the Galaxy Nexus if you do want to get into Android. If you want to look for a high-end Android phone, get the S3. Obviously for iOS, you should get the iPhone 5. But overall, for the best phone available on the market right now in terms of just speed alone, it's definitely the iPhone 5. It's faster than the Galaxy S3 and everything else. But in terms of like actually feeling like a new phone and that's leaps and bounds above everything else, it doesn't really feel like that. It may feel like that if you're using a slower phone, but if you compare it to a Galaxy S3, it's comparable. So in the end, you have to make the decision on your own. I prefer Android, but I've always used iOS. Recently switched over to Android. I've been using it for 6 months or so, while also using my 4S. Now I have this phone. I enjoy it a lot. I think I'm going to keep it and see what Apple does next time. One more thing I want to mention: if you do want to stick with stock Android, the next Galaxy, not the next Galaxy phone, the next Nexus phone that comes out, there's a rumor that it may be released on five phone companies. So you might see an HTC one this time, a Sony one, and who knows, maybe the next Nexus will be faster than the iPhone 5. But if history is any indication, at first it probably won't be, but eventually once Google fixes their stuff together, it might be better than the iPhone 5. But for now, fastest phone on the market. You could argue that it has the best camera as well. There's also the Lumia 920 coming out, so for those of you who want to get into Windows Phone, I'd wait for that. But if you're looking for a phone ASAP right now and you don't really want to screw around with your phone that much, you enjoy it for what it is, pick up the iPhone 5. If you guys could rate, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. I'll just throw the panorama pictures at the end just to kind of give you a showcase for what the iPhone 5 can do. Thanks again, guys.